So if the funding for CCS is to come from the market, then it has to compete, in a sense, purely from the market. Then it has to compete with the abatement costs that are the carbon prices that might prevail in those individual markets. If a global market existed, then clearly we would have one, a single price. But up until that point, we're looking at regional, unconnected markets. The expectations of project activity in Europe are bigger than those in the US. So although they have more projects, we're being slightly more ambitious in the scale of projects in terms of injection rates, megatons of CO2 per year that we're planning to implement. There is, looking back at those charts, a significant increase in planned investment and injection rates, which demonstrates the industry is taking this seriously and is gearing up. But we've got, just relative to the 108 million tons which industry wants to build, we have a funding gap of about $56 billion compared to what has been pledged to date. And that gap increases to $136 billion if you refer back to that 200 megaton, somewhat arbitrary figure, but say 10% of the global designed emission reduction commitment by 2020.
What should the process look like going forward, and what planning should be in place? So I think we need a flexible process, and perhaps it should have 3 stages. They should be implemented to ensure that as many projects as possible can be funded in time. How should the NAR pool be monetised? So it's clear that there is currently no market for phase 3 allowances, but pointers from the current phase 2 indicate how it is likely to operate from 2011 when auctioning will start.
We think that CCS has been tested on laboratory scale or in some small amounts or small sizes, and really we now have to go ahead and show it in a real life type of situation. So in an installation that would correspond by size to an installation that you would normally have in a commercial power plant. So the threshold is somewhere around 300, 250 megawatt, certainly not below that. We looked in the beginning at how you could actually support that demonstration, and generally you would have two, or not generally, you would have 2 generic approaches possible. One would be a centralized approach in Europe that would build on some kind of a common initiative or joint initiative, creating some sort of a joint undertaking.
This is work in progress. This is work in progress because there has been no formal proposal made by the Commission yet to the Climate Change Committee, who will be deciding on the final shape of that regulation. So we have available in principle 300 million allowances in the new entrance reserve for demonstration support of CCS and innovative renewables. 2 technologies are explicitly mentioned by the legislator in the Article 10. By the December 2009 or January 2010, we would hope the Commission will adopt a decision. And again, shortly after, we hope to have the first call for proposals out in the open. And that would allow us to set the deadline for proposals for April 2010 and establish a short list of the projects for the first tranche somewhere around September of 2010.
I think the member states are already in the business of taking very large market risk in terms of auctioning allowances. They would be in a better position to sit on the allowances and give some guarantee to project developers at an early stage, so that project developers can commit themselves to a business plan. Graham suggested that this could appear in the form of I mean, basically what he was saying is, without reading through this, it was in effect a contract for differences with member states against the allowances that were given. In fact, another way to do that would be actually to hand over the allowances to the member state, leave it with them, and the member state hand back something absolute in return. And I think this is all up to play for, but I think we need to be decisive about this. And I'd like to just canvass any views that there might be from the floor, from Guy, and from Piotr and Jan on this subject, because I think this this is the nub of how we're going to get the money handed over.
So let me just say that, say some thank you to everyone here, to my co-chair Jeff, to Graham who spoke before, to Guy, to Jan, to Pietra. Can I say that it's very obvious from the discussion we've had that this is still work in progress. I think the Commission representatives have been very honest in explaining that not every I is dotted, not every T is crossed. And I suspect after this afternoon's proceedings, you here know about as much as what is going on as anyone else in Europe.